Okay. Hi to my 28 subscribers. This is part 5 of the preface or preface of Beethoven's letters. Okay. Of Shakespeare, there are only indirect traces in the letters. From what Schindler has told us, there is, however, abundant evidence of his acquaintance with the poet's works. As regards Goethe, Beethoven says he knew him, i.e., his poems, almost from childhood. And here again we trace the influence of the Breuning family. To Goethe and his plays and poems, there are, of course, many references. The meeting of the poet and tone poet at Teplitz was a disappointment on both sides. Goethe pitied Beethoven on account of his rough manners and deafness, and naturally the polished Kreutzer was not in symphony with the composer's radical opinions. The impression which the man Goethe made on Beethoven is graphically expressed in the words. One cannot laugh much at the ridiculous things that virtuosi do when poets who ought to be looked upon as the principal teachers of the nation forget everything else amidst this glitter. But a word must be said about the Bible. Grove, in his article, says, "It is strange that the Bible does not appear to have been one of his favorite books. Also, that references to it are very rare. There are, however, many signs, some direct, some indirect, that Beethoven was a Bible reader. The direct references may be rare, but there are many sentences which are particularly paraphrases of Bible words. The statement of Grove, viz., that Beethoven's deeply religious feeling is shown by many and many a sentence in his letters, is more than confirmed in the new letters published in this edition, especially those addressed to the magistrates in the lawsuits respecting the guardianship of his nephew. Of puns and various plays upon words there is abundance. One might say superabundance. And with regard to these, it is evident that in translation, except in some instances where equivalent terms have been found, either the idea of reproducing the pun or play on word had to be abandoned, or, as has been done here in other instances, the German words have been inserted in square brackets. To take a simple example, Beethoven speaks of a person named Traeg, T-R-A-E-G, as T-R-A-E-G, Traeg, i.e. slow. The mere fact of having to explain punning propensity runs through the whole of the letters. Some attempt had to be made to show it in translation. Of Beethoven's puns, as one can well imagine, some were very good, others very bad. He never missed an opportunity with names of composers. We need not call attention to familiar jokes, but would note two in connection with Bach. The composer hears that Anna Regina Bach, the last surviving child of the great composer, is in distress, and in writing to Hofmeister expresses the hope that something may be done for this brook before it dries up. The play upon the word Bach is explained in the notes to that letter. The other is a play upon the basso ostinato of the crucifixes in Bach's B minor Mass. Beethoven tells his publisher, Steiner, that this basso resembles him, i.e., in his obstinacy with regard to terms. He writes to Rius that he hears J.B. Kramer does not approve of his Beethoven's music, and so calls him a counter subject. The Society of Musical Friends, Gesellschaft Musikfreunde, is a society of fiends, and so on. Much has been written about Wagner's dogs and love of animals generally. Of Beethoven, the only reference hitherto as to animals was the story of the horse presented to the composer by Count Brown. In this edition, 3 letters are published for the first time in which we hear about dogs. In the one describing the scene at Artieres about the quintet in C, Beethoven mentions that in the confusion his brother lost his pet dog. While in 2 others, Nos 68 and 69, is an account of Gigaud, Gigaud, which belonged to the Gleschensteins, and which followed Beethoven home and proved a pleasant companion. By permission of Dr. A.C. Callister, his notes have been compressed. Many refer to the German text to various readings of the original letters, criticisms of those readings, all of which, in the absence of the German text, would be meaningless. Again, Dr. Callister often gives a paraphrase of the contents of letters, and in many instances, actual quotations from them. In compressing, I have omitted nothing that seemed of importance. Beethoven's letters have, of course, been translated in full. In conclusion, I have to express my warmest thanks to Viscount Othorpe, Stephen Lewis Courtauld, Esquire Sir George Donaldson, Dr. Theodore Fremmel, Alfred Morton, Esquire Sir George Hensel, Arthur F. Hill, Esquire Professor Dr. Nickenberg, Bonn, Mrs. J.A. Fuller Matland, Dr. Joseph Montuani, Vienna, Sir Hubert Perry, Dr. Eric Perger, Herr Adolf Schulzer, M. Julian Tiersot, Paris, and Miss E. A. Wilmot for allowing me to copy unpublished letters and to publish the facsimiles described in the lists of illustrations. I have also to thank the publishers, Heron, Schuster, and Lafleur and Heron George Muller, Munich, for granting permission to take facsimiles of portraits from Music and from Dr. T.H. Fremmel's Beethoven Studien, Volume 2. My thanks are likewise due to F.G. Edwards, Esquire, William Barclay, Squire, Esquire, for kind assistance, also to Dr. Julius whom I consulted with regard to Austrian dialect, words imperfect, ungrammatical, and obscure sentences. J.S. Shedlock, London, 1909. The miniature reproduced is facsimile by the kind of permission of Sir George Henschel. See facing page 4, was identified by Ritter von Brunig as the work of a young Bond painter, Gerard von Klugen. Okay, and this is a picture of Beethoven's birthplace from a drawing by Herbert Railton. So if you can see that. Okay, so that's all of the preface. We got through it. Woo. Okay. Okay, thank you for watching.